everybody, Josh the RV Nerd down here at Winnebago today, where I was given access to something new. They're all new stick and tin series, so maybe stick around and see what we can get access to. I don't know, that was terrible. I'll work that out on my own time. Don't cancel me. Anyway, what are we looking at on this? So, what's cool about this is Winnebago has what they call their red thread, their red line features, where there's a consistent core of features that go through their entire towable lineup. Doesn't matter which series it is, and you see that all reflected here, even though this is something that they're building to be far more price aggressive to enter into a new market segment. Now, this is certainly not the smallest bunkhouse you're ever going to encounter, but it does some very cool things, like giving us a big super slide, a private bedroom, and even a fully enclosed private bunk room that is not necessarily the first of its kind in the industry, but it is definitely very rare out there. So you have, a private bunkhouse, which is very, very handy. Like, if you want to be able to come and go to the bathroom at night and not disturb everybody, or if you want to put the kids to bed but still kind of come and go in the camper a little bit, this is a floor plan that really allows that without necessarily going to a full-on quad bunk or something like that, which is an even bigger style of camper still. But because it is fully enclosed, and you have a cargo door in the back and a fold-up cargo bunk on the bottom, you can create basically an enclosed cargo garage. Or I think you could pull the bunks out of this one and very easily convert this into like an office or like a walk-in closet or something like that. So yeah, by default, it's definitely a family bunk model, but there's some other cool things that you could do with this one. Now, they're doing some different things with their skin. They're a little bit taller inside. They borrowed a lot from their mini laminated travel trailer series, and that's one of the things that really jumped out at me the most. On the outside, yeah, it's a stick and tin camper. You can see that it's a good looking one. I personally feel it's very sleek, whereas a lot of stick and tins kind of look a little chintzy sometimes, But on the inside, this one doesn't look and feel like a stick and tin camper. Is it just me? And it's important to remember when you're looking, at a price-sensitive stick and tin build like this, it's not like they necessarily had the opportunity to set the world on fire and create the most original thing ever. I don't think that was necessarily their goal, although there are some neat qualities here, like this Access series. Wherever the floor plan allows, which is pretty much all of them that they have planned, it's actually going to be standard with a cuddle-compliant theater seat and then option into a tri-fold hide-a-bed. I think only their no-slide bunkhouse model just physically won't be able to fit that, and we'll have to have a jackknife sofa. And I'm kind of curious. Like, I like to share awesome things and then things that make you go, These slide windows. I'm wondering why, since they don't have cabinetry over that window, why it doesn't match the big window behind the sofa. Maybe there's a reason for it that I don't understand. I haven't investigated this. It just felt interesting to me. I like the light bright color palette, and you might notice all for $24. The entire family of Winnebagos is going carpetless, and they're doing here something very similar to what I've seen Alliance do, which is actually, I think, one of my favorite carpetless slide executions, where basically it's all the same material, and they don't have like a hard trim line around it, so everything looks very clean. Now, along with the bright colors and frankly very plentiful lighting in here, like if I just kill all the lighting on this thing, it dramatically changes the atmosphere in here. They have a very good lighting package, but it's also a little bit taller ceiling, and they kind of they built a lot of this Access series off of the success that they've had in their mini series, the laminated Winnebagos. So things like that interesting 6'8" ceiling height. They've gone with a couple, interesting taller features there. And this floor plan does some things really well, but campsite window coverage is not one of those things. To point that out. They are carpetless and ventless in the flooring. The heat vents are right down there, right under the cabinets. But notice, by hugging them right against the floor line like that, they've still maintained maximum drawer capacity. Now, like a lot of campers this year, especially in the stick and tin world, about half of them I've noticed have gone away from traditional propane ovens. They've decided to kind of keep that trend going from their laminated series and go with a convection microwave up here. Now, what's funny is this same supplier allows them for $10 more per microwave to call it an air fryer, but it's literally the exact same microwave. They just literally charge more for a sticker that says air fryer, even though it's the same thing. That's a larger 10 cubic foot, 12 volt compressor fridge. So, you can fit a lot of family in this. But notice, oops, sorry, I'm running into the wall behind me. I'm not acquainted with this floor plan where everything is yet. We got a nice big super slide living room. So plenty of space on a rainy day. But you have sliding privacy door for the front bedroom where I was standing just now. And as you can see, instead of open to the air corner bunks over here, they enclosed that space off. And whether it's the bunk room or the bathroom, you don't have that I can peek at you or smell you kind of gap, above the door. Winnebago's always been really cool about that. They tend to fully frame out anything they possibly can on these. And this is a small, interesting take on a private bunk room, as opposed to like an extended extra long quad bunk or anything like that in the back. It's not like there's, huge dresser privacy space in here. There's enough room for somebody to maybe get dressed. And then over here, you're going to see that for the 2024 series, all Winnebago towables have some level of inverter prep, and the outlets that are going to be wired to it are going to have that yellow sticker. Now, there's actually some fundamental differences between how the Micro Minis and the rest of the lineup are wired. So basically, the Micro Minis will end up with even more inverter prepped outlets than everything else. Windows off the side over here, I've noticed, tend to be people's bigger preference. And upper and lower bunks both have household and USB outlets, which is nice. Again, you've got that fold-up cargo bunk kind of function going on right here. But these bunks are not structural. So if you wanted to remove them and replace them like with a desk, or you want to build a walk-in closet, if you wanted this to not be a bunkhouse, you could do that. But by default from the factory, this is the only arrangement. Now, down below here, we still have a porcelain foot flush stool, which is a nice find, and a stick and tin camper. A couple nicer little features kind of trickling their way down through the family. The space around it, I thought was fantastic. And I really like what they're doing here in the bathroom. I've seen a couple brands going to this where, especially in the case of like a corner cabinet like this, you still have your, like toothbrush and Q-tip storage space, your Lipitorage storage. But then they just have a giant mirror on the wall over there. Not a window. Like, windows make RV bathrooms look cool, but when am I going to open a window in a bathroom? I'm not the type of guy with the confidence and the body type to put on a free show for the neighbors. No, thank you. Now, what I'm getting at is I think the mirror accomplishes that without the loss of privacy function. Now, the 6'8" ceiling is like just enough. I'm a little bit over 6 foot, wearing shoes probably about 6'2", just enough that without my hat, my head barely bumps the ceiling line underneath that skylight. But overall, it did okay for me. And you might have noticed that's an easy step-in shower, not a big travel trailer tub or anything like that. This is something else that really kind of jumped at me because true to form with Winnebago, they're never the least expensive version of anything. But getting stuff like slide side breeze windows, a lot of stick and tins don't do that. It's those extra detail things that they're doing. Now, they're doing a pedestal style dinette. I'm very vocal about the fact that that is not my favorite knee knocking nonsense right there. I prefer floating, free floating, folding legs myself. But for about $40 off Amazon and 5 seconds with a screw gun, even me who's not good with tools, I could still kind of convert that over. Now, as you can see, we've already cracked into all of our storage kind of spaces right here. Below this giant pantry, there's like a dead blank chunk of space. That is the outside kitchen. And you may notice, again, they have not gone with a gas oven. You have that convection microwave, basically air fryer, built in above the countertop line. All the countertops in this are sealed edge pressed membrane. They're still including those crazy heavy duty sink covers in the kitchen. Little things like the slide side breeze windows, the sink covers. It's the porcelain foot flush stool, the taller ceiling, the solar package standard. There's a bunch of little things that are easy to miss on this that will change the price tag from this versus something else. So if you look, and those are features that you like, those are things that you would like added to an RV, they're already done and they're already standard here. Whereas a lot of other brands, it would be, a couple extra bucks to try to like add that stuff. So that's kind of the thing. If you look at the total cost of ownership, they've done some great features right off the top here. Now, they haven't done things like the big bathroom vent fans, which would be nice, but I don't think they do that through most of their lineup, frankly. This I will say I think is interesting. This is not the most TV-friendly, TV-centric floor plan. Because even though it has a theater seat, I think the theater seat is more for just being comfortable on a rainy day. I think that TV is something where, like, maybe you have a sports game playing while everyone's running around the RV, and it's not really made with the intention of, like, everybody sitting inside all watching TV at the same time. But something I noticed as I kind of sat down right now, they have a full bank of outlets underneath that thing. So if you did want to, create like a phone charge station or something, that upper cabinet might make for a really cool little opportunity right there. I don't know. What do you think about that? And by just creating that extra little raised countertop right there, I don't think they're trying to necessarily create a breakfast serving bar, but they created the perfect place for power outlets in the kitchen. That chunk of space behind the sink is begging for some kind of like coffee maker type appliance. I will say though, overall, this kitchen is a little bit lacking in prep space. And the elevated area right here, did you notice? This is kind of interesting, especially in a bunkhouse. We got little kitty octopus fight club coat hooks right there, but then we have the adult coat hooks over here. And this is another one of those easy to miss little things. I actually missed it until just now. The full window in the entry door is not just shade prepped. It is actually throwing shade like Cardi B over here. So that's another thing you don't typically find on stick and tins. Something else. It's actually causing this RV to be at least 6 inches longer, which adds weight, which adds cost. But they are building them straight from the start with true queen beds in place. Now, that is obviously the industry's most comfortable backbreaker death wafer mattress right there, he says with all kinds of dripping sarcasm. But the fact is, this bedroom, right from the fact, is sized for a 60 by 80 true queen. So you don't have to worry about putting a longer bed in and then trying to do the butt scoop boogie to get around it. You don't got to worry about any that kind of stuff. Both sides of the bed have household and USB outlets, both of which appear. There's a ton of inverter prepped outlets in this thing. I was expecting 3 or 4. They're like all over the place, man. And you've got these nice, big, deep pockets behind the headboard because if you notice the front contour of their RV, the top kind of sticks out a little bit, although it's still got a nice radius. So they had their normal hanging wardrobes, but they had extra space behind it. So if you're the type that like feels claustrophobic at night, I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue. Now they wanted me to ask you some feedback because these are still in that prototype phase. They were thinking of adding a little bit of a shelf, basically running right along the line of that wall seam right there. I think it would be a really good idea. I think it would be up high enough and back far enough it's not going to be a head knocker, and it would just be an extra thing. It could even create a third level of storage in that headboard power pocket scenario that they have going on right there. Oh, here's an idea. What do you think about this? Put like a little 1-inch, 2-inch hole in that shelf back there so I could run power cords up through it and have power outlets or power functions and chargers on 2 different layers of that thing. I personally think that would be very cool, but that's just me. Now, taking a look at your bedroom storage right here, you can see, again, both sides of the bed have drawers. You got those awesome headboard power pocket kind of solutions going on. Easy lift storage below the bed as well. And you might have noticed there's a small little like heat vent right above the floor line, right below the bed. Again, they've been very good about not actually putting heat vents directly in the floor of this, which helps make it far more kid-friendly, pet-friendly, and just easier to keep clean all the way through. You know, carpetless slide, no vents directly in the floor line. Those are some really handy features. And a camper like this that isn't trying to be a cold camp camper because cabin ducted heating slightly less effective, I think personally makes more sense. Not a lot of us are camping when the snowflakes are flying. I certainly wouldn't be in this. It makes sense to me. Now, what I'm wondering is what the interaction between the sofa and the countertop is going to be like in road mode here. Well, they don't come up and kiss one another, but it's awful close. If you kind of hold on to the countertop, you can sort of do a little bit of a Tarzan swing around the counter to get back here to get to the kitchen area. However, due to them privatizing this corner bunk room, Their new greatest quality also became their greatest liability, because you are not going to be able to open that door from here. Although you could maybe load the kids up from the back cargo door. The trick with this is that bathroom door does not open. And because it does have that pantry next to it, I don't think you're going to be able to leave the bathroom door all the way open and then close the slide. So for road mode, you could maybe stop and make a snack if you can tiptoe around the countertop. That's really about it. And because this RV is in the prototype phase today, hard final specs have not yet been made available to me. I'm going to get what I can to try to put them up there on screen, but keep in mind, I want you to understand that those specs are subject to change because they haven't gone through official production yet. Some things might get altered, which may juggle those, but stuff like, I think it's, what'd they say, like an 8,800 pound GVW. You factor in 8,800 pound maximum weight, and this is a fairly long RV. I think that if you're just going to say, what vehicle would you recommend? And I have no concept of where you live or where you're going to tow it or anything like that. I think the safe answer for something this size is probably going to be closer to 3/4. However, if you're around flatland, southern Michigan, where I'm from, and you have yourself a good hefty half-ton with, solid packages and everything, properly equipped half-ton on proper circumstances could do the trick here. Now, up front, we've got the power stabilizer, and that's some of those, I call them, what do they call them, red thread features, where it's consistent through the whole line. You still have 4-corner independent power stabilizer jacks with an easy manual override nut right off the side right there, in case for whatever reason you run out of power or anything. And this is a little visually confusing. You're like, wow, 30-pound tanks, 20-pound tanks, 30-pound cover, which I think is interesting. But hey, you know what? I guess 30-pound tanks with a 20-pound cover would really be problematic. It would look kind of like if I wore a medium-sized shirt, it just wouldn't fit. Now, this is one of those prototypey things that's going to change. That we're looking at an early version of it. You see that black box over there? Basically, what they're doing is they're cleaning up all that 12-volt wiring on the tongue, similar to like what Keystone and Crossroads and Heartland have done. They're going to be coming up with some kind of all-inclusive power box on the front of this thing to get rid of all the kind of ugly wiring aspects. So again, that's something that will improve before this thing goes into production. Now, you might notice the skin on this is different from most stick and tin campers, very similar to Transcender, even before that, what like Riverside was using. It's a thicker 0.03 aluminum. Most sidewall crimped aluminum is a 0.024. The nose is also a 0.04. So all of this is thicker skinned, which is very handy if you're going to spend some time around me being a little thicker skinned. I've got a wicked sense of humor. Notice even the front compartment up here. The front compartment under your bed is forced air heated in a stick and tin camper. I don't know if I've ever seen that, although the old school stick and tin Sunnybrooks might have done something like that. But see, that's an interesting thing that not everybody's aware of. Winnebago's towable production is actually the old Sunnybrook facility. For those who are not aware of what that means, Sunnybrook is a company that in a sense is no longer with us. They were never high volume. They were very well respected stuff, and you actually still see a lot of that DNA here in Winnebago's towables even today. Look at the size of that awning though. Man, they really gave us some coverage there. Now, if you look up top, you saw in our little floor plan in a flash, there's the 200-watt standard solar panel up there. A lot of companies in this class are still doing optional solar, Winnebago doing it standard, but still including that little wind fairing in the front of it so that the wind doesn't gusset and stress the mounts on the front of that thing, causing potential leak points. And this right here, under the kind of pantry closet area, there was a dead chunk of space on the inside. That's because, as you see right here, it is a fridge and griddle wombo combo all kind of jammed into one little space right there. What I will tell you is if you're cooking on it and you want to reach in and get to the fridge, adults want to do that instead of kids. Because they, could basically come in contact with a hot surface. So be kind of conscious of that there. Windows are all tinted, and they don't have the demo ready for me today. But like a year ago, I happened to look at the side of their receiver hitch that's on the back of this right here. And I said, you know, that is very similar to like the Jayco J-Port. That looks like a 2-inch receiver hitch coming off the side of the RV. I wonder if they could do something with that. And they are. They're devising basically an optional little like table that mounts into the side of that and then screws into place so it's nice and stable and secure. That will basically, you know, allow you to expand your outside function without adding, like, screwing any extra widgets into the RV. Well, screw down, tighten, but not like mount things and screw into your sidewalls or anything like that. I'm very excited to see that. I guess it'll be an old galvanized rolled steel kind of metal. The cargo bunk in the back here, this bunk will flip up out of the way. Here in the prototype phase, they don't have the flip up bunk holdback in place yet. This is still more of just a proof of concept. So I can't demonstrate that function, but that is something that will be happening. And that bunk door is basically a miniature version of your entry door. So it does have a deadbolt to make sure that the kids stay secure at night. Up top, we are prepped and ready with a telescopic removable ladder. And just because the construction on this is so very different from what we've seen, I want to run through this real fast. Up top on the roof, we have a 3/8 walkable deck with average of 12-inch on-center roof trusses. Sidewalls and floor are an average of 16-inch or less on center. And your floor decking is a 5/8 tongue and groove. So that's the general build out of one of these, just in case you were a little bit curious here. I'm gonna have to mention this to them. That is rough. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. In the back, we have a water outlet, you know, sewer outlet, but look up just in front of the tires, dead under the center of that super slide. There's another exhaust port right there. I'm going to try to see where the gate pull valves are located, but that's in a rough spot. Maybe it's unavoidable. I don't know, but that's kind of rough. Black tank flush, full hot cold outside utility shower. Now you don't see things like you don't see these specific mounts that say slide awning prepped or something. You can still put slide awnings on a lot of RVs that don't have a specific slide awning prep mount. It's been done for years. Now, what I was curious about, where are the tank poles? Oh, wow, really buried under there. That is rough. I'm going to share that with them, and I don't know if it's possible that anything changes there, but that is a rough spot. And I hope you appreciate that I go way out of my way to showcase things sometimes that aren't awesome, so that I want to be as candid and transparent with you as I can, so that you know if this is the right RV for you or not. Of course, you've got that enclosed heated underbelly right there, and something, ouch, oh God, I ran right into a power post right behind me here. Ooh, that felt real good. Oh, okay. I'm just going to use some big swears later. We're going to work that out. No big deal. Some of the things that are going to be found on the Winnebago line across the board for 24, full side view and rear view camera prep, and they went to Furrions this year, apparently just because more dealers carry Furrion hardware. It was easier for Winnebago customers to get that stuff. And you are still side mount solar prepped. You can use that in addition to your roof solar, so you can kind of, have it either way. They also, along with their 200-watt solar package, they're still using a 30-amp charge controller, which is nice. And they got rid of just a fuse for this thing. It's actually like a breaker kind of thing. So if for some reason something pops, you can more easily reset it. You don't have to have a box of fuses on you. TPMS prepped, and something else they're prepped for is inverter. Now the Access series, it's only going to be like a couple bedside, then a couple outlets in the RV. They have that yellow inverter prep sticker, but they put that nice chunk of plywood right there for you to be able to mount an inverter, which I think is nice. That keeps it, really secure as a result. Now, I know I'm going to get some questions on this, so to maybe kind of proactively help field some of these, they are not making just bunkhouse models. They will have some couples models, some big stuff, small stuff, some no slides. This is just the first one of these that I've had a chance to put full on camera. My next order of business is to go get their front kitchen couples model and have that footage for you lined up as soon as I can. So let me know what you think about this series in general. What features do you like? Where did they nail it? Where could they improve? Like, what is the one thing you would like to see changed on this RV given the opportunity? Now, I will do what I always do and leave you a link in the video description to check for pricing and availability, but keep in mind, I am getting early access to initial prototypes that have not gone into production, and final pricing actually is not yet set. I don't have a price tag standing here right now. when I get early access to these things. Access. This is an early access. How did I just put that together? Anyway, contact our teams that are Winnebago carrying stores, and they can get you some rough ideas, some figures. And as time rolls on, that will become more available. And as we get these in stock, we'll actually have them on our website with pricing for anything that we have on hand. So when you're ready, we're ready. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.